Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, El Shaddai, Hashem, Rakakodah, Shalom to the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, the chat says, Noah and his sons, most likely black, question mark. So, no, chat doesn't exactly use the word black, African, but they make a strong suggestion that he had to be. They don't have any, clear-cut evidence what color he was, but he would have to have been a man of color, of a darker hue. So, if Noah, make this short, if Noah was a dark-skinned man, a black, so-called black man, then all his sons had to be black. His wife had to certainly be black. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this. I'm not going to make this long. I put in the question, was Noah a black man? The question of Noah's race or ethnicity is not definitively answered in the Bible or other ancient texts. Here's a clear black background breakdown, because as a child we were always taught, as Jakes going to Sunday school, you always taught that it was assumed that Noah was a white man, so all his sons had to be white. But there are more people of color than so-called European white people. So how does that work? You would think that white people came from black people, not the other way around, when you consider dark genes are dominant. So I'm not going to make this long. I didn't have any real topics, so I said, let me just mess around with the chat. So it says here, and I did a video, and I may even go to that, just so you can watch that video as well. I asked, what was the color of the Messiah? And they pretty much said he had to be a black man of color, not a white man, not a European eyes looking. So you got the chat saying that. Anyway, it says historical and geographical context. Noah, like other early biblical figures, is said to have lived in the ancient Near East, likely in the region around Mesopotamia, modern day Iraq, Syria. People from this region, like when you go to the Middle East, you're gonna, well, let's go to the Middle East, 1700s, 1800s, 1500s, 1400s. They were dark people, Arab looking or black. Now you gotta understand that you're going to have Arabs with woolly hair, dark brown skin, looking like African Americans, or looking more Hamitic. All you got to do is go to the videos of Palestine in the 1700s, early 1800s. They were all black, dark people. People from this region in ancient times would not have been European white in the modern sense. They likely had brown or olive toned skin. Now olive, they'll say, well, he was olive color. Well, you have three colors of olives. You have black olives, you have brown olives, and you have green olives. So we know they were not green. So let's take away the green olives. You got black olives and brown olives. So-called black people are not black. They're different shades of brown. Some are so dark that you say that they're black. They're really not black. Black Africans are not black. They're dark brown. So when you say they likely had brown or olive tone skin, typical of the broader African Asiatic region. The people of Asia, the original Asiatic people were people of color. If you go to, there's shorts on, I don't know if it's one particular site on YouTube, but it's like videos of 100 years ago, of films of 100 years ago. Let me see if I can find that. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. I don't want to. Oh, this is. Let me just play this. All right. This is fair use. Let me do it this way. Okay, this is from TikTok. This is from Wangel Zelalem, which he's a news presenter. Anyway, let me slow it down. This is fair use. And this is information that we already know, but look at this. Take a look at this. Somebody's trying to hide something. And I think that somebody is a white man. They want the truth to come out. Moses was taken up by the and given to the queen of Pharaoh's daughter, the whole story. And she said, Ra gave me this son. Now, the Egyptians were black, super black people, dark brown, super dark brown people. So, you're going to tell me that Moses was a white man. How did she raise this boy up as a white man? Doesn't make any sense. Because he was raised up as an Egyptian. He was told that he was an Egyptian. Going to the history of Moses, in the Egyptian history, he was a general. He was known for his mighty works and deeds. That's in the book of Acts. I believe that's Acts 7. So there's no way you can pass for an Egyptian if Ra, the sun god, which was black, gave you a white boy. So this is what these devils are dug up through the years.
You seemingly chiseled out. Now, what's interesting about this is very common.
Every last bust is chiseled out where the nose is. Chiseled out where the nose is.
Theme amongst many ancient statues and sculptures found around the world. Even on the Sphinx of Egypt, again, on all these ancient statues, the nose has seemingly been chiseled out. It's because the nose tells the real story, guys.
Yeah, Negroid. You can look at the features and see that this guy is a black guy. The full lips.
The real story.
The CT scan has one more surprise for Alejandro. Shammai's ethnicity.
Well, they have just told me that Shammai has a Nubian feature, which means that their ruling family was probably Nubian, and that was unexpected.
Examining Shammai's anatomy closely, the thickness of his bone.
And by the way, Shammai simply means here. Shammai means here. To listen. So that's a Hebrew name, Hebrew word.
And the shape of his nasal cavity. The anthropologists think he was a black African, likely from neighboring Nubia. A huge revelation that challenged the prevailing image of the Egyptian ruling class.
I recently came across a video of...
Okay, so that's all I wanted to show. Let me come on back. Okay, so we read up to this point. Ethnic lineage, Genesis 10, Table of Nations. Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now you got the small hats. If you don't know it or not, they'll say, if you say anything negative about what's going on in the Levant today with the whole Palestine, Gaza, Israel situation, if you take the wrong side, you are anti-Sem. But see, how can we be anti-Sem when we're Sem ourselves? We ourselves are Semitic. And the word is Shem, not Sem. Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, are traditionally seen as the progenitors. Pro meaning to go forward. Gen, the term means to go forward with the gene. You lay down with a woman, you had sex with a woman, she becomes pregnant, and that woman bears a child or twins. Of different groups, Ham is sometimes linked with Africa, e.g., example given, Cush, Egypt. Right, Cush is the original name. Kawash is one of the sons of Noah, or Nawak. Egypt is a Greek word that came in later. There was no such people as the Egyptian people at that time. They were known as Martazayim or Mitzrayim. The small hats say Mitzrayim. Even the Arabs referred to them as Mizraim. Shem, with the Middle East, example given Semitic peoples. So what people are Semitic? The Arab nations, the Ishmaelites are Semitic. The Israelites are Semitic. The Edomites are Semitic. The Elamites, the East Indians are Semitic. The Assyrians are Semitic. The people of Iraq are Semitic. The people of Iran are Semitic. Chinese, Japanese are Semitic. So-called African Americans and the people of Indian and Negro descent of North, Central, and South America are all Semitic. They all go back to Shem. So when the small hats, and by the way, when the small hats use the word Semitic, they are Semitic. So people you're going off, you're saying they're not Semitic. The correct answer is, a response is, I'm Semitic too. But what kind of Semitic are you? Are you a Semitic Hebrew? Are you Semitic Edomite? Japheth were parts of Europe and Asia. Now these were the dark, through a process of elimination, the sons of Japheth, which by the way, Japheth does not mean beautiful. The 7 went off on that. It means enlarged. Because they went further out. The Ham and the sons of Ham and the sons of Shem, they stayed within that region of the Levant, a little further out. That whole region, it was the sons of Japheth that went north into Europe. They didn't go to the Americas. They didn't go to Canada. They went north of the Levant. But these associations are symbolic and broad, not precise racial categories. Well, you did say they wouldn't be European white looking. They would be more. It makes more sense that they're brown or olive skin. So when it says ethnic simply means this. Vocab Malone, ethnically, is Southern Italian and German, right? So he might go back to Germany with his family or whatever. Oh, this is my family line. They might serve him traditional German food, which is called the ethnic food of Germany. Or he might go to Sicily, And, if we say, well, let's go, what are we going to eat? Well, let's eat some Italian. What am I saying? Let's eat the food of this ethnic group called the Italians. They deal with a lot of, pasta, antipasto, a lot of spices, what they got from the Indians, a lot of tomatoes, chicken, veal, pork, wine. They deal with a lot of wine. You have Italian wines and Spanish wines and so forth, right? So if you go to an Italian restaurant to eat some Italian food and they give you a hamburger and fries, you're going to say, no, this is not ethnic. Like hamburger and fries would be considered ethnic American, but it's European. The hamburger goes back to Hamburg, Germany. So anyway, but these associations are symbolic and not present. I read this already. Modern interpretations. Some Afrocentric scholars and groups argue that Noah and other biblical patriarchs or fathers were black. Emphasizing the African roots of civilization and interpreting biblical clues through that lens. Now people say, oh, the Bible's a fairy tale, the Bible's this, and we don't go by the Bible. The stories in the Bible are a series of allegories. Well, everybody mentions when you go into ancient history, you got to talk about the Bible. And you got to talk about these characters because they say, oh, what's this guy? Garfield says there's no such thing as Israelites, but there's such a thing as Canaanites. And they'll say, well, you brothers in here in America that says you Israelites, you're really Canaanites. Now, why do they say that? Because we took the land of the Canaanites. The land of the Canaanites became our land as per the order of the Most High. And that was black on black crime, by the way. It wasn't race on race crime. It was so-called black on black crime. One group of so-called blacks utterly annihilated another group of blacks, so-called blacks. But they came from the ones that we took over. The Canaanites came from Noah through Ham. Everybody on the planet Earth. You see an East Indian person, Chinese, Japanese person, whatever, Hawaiian person. They didn't just crawl up under the rock and say, well, I'm an East Indian. Every person that you see on the planet Earth, go down to New York City to Manhattan. You see so-called white people in business suits. You see Japanese people. You see all these different people. Each and every last one of them goes back to one of the sons of Noah. Either they Hamites, Shemites, or Japhites. And this is just basic stuff. So even the chat is saying that, hey, the Afrocentric community, the doctor, how can I say, what's this guy, Dr. Ben Yayakum, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakum, which is Hebrew. Joseph is a Hebrew word, Yapath, which means he will add. Yayakum means Jacob, or Ben, son of Jacob's, because his name wasn't Yayak. It was Yakum, which is Jacob's. Jacob, one of Jacob's sons. You got S. Henry Clark, which I ran into him years ago. I ain't saying nothing to him. He ain't saying nothing to me. I just passed him by. Let me see. Okay, Noah and other biblical patriarchs were black, emphasizing the African roots of civilization, because even scientists say the original man is a man of color. So if the original man or the original people were people of color, African looking, black looking, then where did the white man come? They came from black people, not the other way around. Dark genes are dominant. And interpreting biblical clues through that lens, mainstream historians and theologians, theo meaning God, Allogian means someone that studies God. Theology, the study of God. Caution against imposing modern racial categories onto ancient people. So in summary, let me do this. Okay, let me keep reading. Summary, no, the Bible does not say Noah was black or any specific race. Right, it doesn't say that, but we know that the original, if you believe that the original man was a black, and I'm going to ask that question too. I'm going to ask that question to Google. Yes, he would have been a man of color. Remember, they used to call us colored folks. But that's before a lot of y'all were born. When I was a kid, look, that colored boy, you know that colored fella over there. That's before Negroes. By modern standards, coming from an ancient Near Eastern population, so he had to be a man of color. The question of whether Noah was black depends on how you define that term. Biologically? No, I'm talking biologically. He was a man of color. Let me do this. Right, it said mainstream historians and theologians caution against imposing modern racial categories onto ancient people. Oh, don't do it. No, you shouldn't do it. Well, they had to be. Come on now. When you write your books and you put the pictures in these different textbooks, you always got Noah being a white man, his sons being white, Abraham being white. Nobody fucking black. You even got the Egyptians as so-called white people, man. The hell y'all talking about? Let me do this. Let me do it this way. Let me try this. Are the sons of Ham so-called Africans? Back to the basics. The sons of Ham in the Bible often associated with African and some Near Eastern people, but it's important to understand that these designations are ancient ethnological categories, not modern racial or national ones. Here's a deeper breakdown. Biblical reference: Genesis 10, the Table of Nations. Ham is listed as one of the 3 sons. His descendants are traditionally believed to be the ancestors of certain peoples. There you go. Ham's sons, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. These names are symbolic of entire regions of people. Cush, commonly identified with Nubia or ancient Egypt. Ethiopia, excuse me. South of Egypt. Mizraim, the biblical name for Egypt. So they know this, man. So they have to say that, well, Ham had to be a black man because all of his sons, his 4 sons, were all black people, Africans. Put often associated with Libya or Northwest Africa, which is correct. The Libyans are the people, they stem from the people of Put or Pawat, Canaan, a region in the Levant. I always speak about the Levant, modern day Israel, because we were in the wilderness. We went through Edom, Moab, Ammon to get to Canaan. And the Most High said, just kill them up. Kill them and take their land. So you know what we had to do? We had to slaughter people. You saw a pregnant woman, Canaanite, chop her head off, kill the baby. Make sure the baby don't get born. So the Most High told us to be mass murderers. And that was a genocide. That was a genocide. Modern day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and parts of Assyria. So we say something as Israelites, we just making shit up, we crazy, we know what the fuck we talking about. But guess what? You got chat, you got the Google, you got the different Bible commentaries that say a lot of the same things that we say. But they're not crazy. We're crazy because we say it. Especially coming from you Jakes. That's why if we see you can't get it, we want you to walk down the street. We don't talk to you. I'm not going to bend over backwards week after week, month after month, and try to make you get it. Maybe he'll get it. No. After the first and second admonition, reject. Look that up. Are the sons of Ham Africans? Yes. That's a definite answer right there. Are the sons of Ham Africans? Yes, in part, but not exclusively. There they go, the devils. Cush, Mizraim, and Pud are clearly associated with African regions. Canaan, however, is in the Middle East, not Africa. Well, that's true. That's true. They were in the Middle East. When you open up a map, they were not in Africa. Cush, Mizraim, and Pud were actually in the continent of Africa, separated by a tectonic, a fault line or tectonic plate. Africa is on a separate tectonic plate than Israel. You got Nate saying, Israel's part of Africa. No, it's not. So while many of Ham's descendants are linked to the North and East Africa, others are tied to the ancient Near East. Yeah, there were black people, Africans, Canaanites that were in the land. And the Most High said, okay, go ahead and take them. That's your land. Almost finished. Cultural and historical perspective, in Jewish tradition, the sons of Ham were often seen as founders of major non-Israelite civilization, particularly in Africa and the Levant. And Islamic tradition, Ham is also seen as the ancestors of African people, as the Arabs see that as them as African peoples, though not with the same rigid ethnic implications. Some older Western interpreters, especially during colonial and slavery years, when Esau came over here and put us in slavery, misused the story of Ham to justify right, because they said, oh, we can put these Negroes, this skinny man, in slavery because he's a Canaanite. They taught, and a lot of the Mormons teach that. Mormons teach that the righteous people of the Most High were all white and that there was a certain group that went against following Satan, and the Most High cursed them with being black and having woolly hair. But they'll never say that the Mormons are a racist organization. Oh, this guy, Charlie Kirk, that got shot, that was in Utah, where that's known for. When you think of Utah, you think of Salt Lake City. That's where the Mormons came out of. There's a whole history of that, because the United States government at that time was killing Mormons and locking them up because they were marrying. They had more than one wife, and they said, "No, you can't do that." So they wound up in Utah, where it's allowed in Utah and Salt Lake City, or maybe the whole state. I don't know the whole history, and I really don't care. And so that's how they wound up in Utah, in Salt Lake City to be exact. Particularly through the misapplied curse of Ham. See, we justified in putting you in slavery and whipping your backs because we the sons of Shem. And the sons of Shem was going to inherit the Canaanites. And you guys are Canaan. No, we're not Canaanites, we're Israelites. Note the Bible does not curse Ham, but Canaan, and this was later distorted for ideological purposes. Right, because why did the Most High say, for what you did, Ham, I'm going to curse your son Canaan? Because Canaan was going to be in our land, and the Most High was going to say, slaughter them and take the land. Most High told us to slaughter them and take the land. Netanyahu said in the beginning of this thing in Gaza, Palestinians and the IDF, he actually quoted scriptures. He quoted how they're commanded to utterly destroy the Amalekites. So he deemed himself as being Israelites, and he deemed the people of Gaza, the Palestinian people, as Amalekites. They're not Amalekites. They're not Amalekites, man. Summary: the sons of Ham, including ancestors traditionally associated with African regions, Cush, Mizraim, Pud, and Levant areas, Canaan. So many of Ham's descendants can be considered Africans. So they know that, but they don't know who. When it comes to Shem, the sons of Shem, the Edomites, we don't know what happened to the Edomites. That's what they said. They said that the Edomites, what was the word they used? Well, I'll use the word dissolve themselves. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. I'm almost finished. Whatever happened to the Biblical Edomites? Question mark. Who said that? The Israelite, the black Hebrew Israelites? Well, I don't believe what they say. But Esau says the same thing. Esau, the scholars, they agree with what we say. Let me see. The Edomites were the Edomites were a real ancient people mentioned frequently in the Bible, but they eventually disappeared as a distinct nation. Yeah, you can't pick them out. We can pick them out. Here's a breakdown of who they were, because they're here, but they just mingled among other nations according to, which in some part they were. Some kind of way they were, because of the whole thing with the tears, right? They said what happened to them, and how their legacy continue or didn't. Who are the Edomites? The Edomites were descendants of Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, Israel, according to the Bible. And this is what we tell when these small hats come up And we go into the story of Jacob. I said, you familiar with the story of Jacob and Esau? They said, yeah. When I tell them, you know, you're the people of Esau. They want to go. Oh, I gotta go. They'll tell you, we're Jacob and the Esau is the other people. I said, nope. You're the Edomite. You're Esau. I gotta go. It says this. They settled it was two young ones, and they had the black, the Orthodox so-called Jews. It was in the city. This was 6, 7, 8 years ago, and we told them straight up. We were nice to them. We didn't curse them out or nothing. We told them that they're the Edomites. They had to go. If you don't like me goggling, you can move on to another video. So, F you and have a nice day. So it says the Edomites descendants of Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, Israel, according to the Bible, Genesis 36:1. They settled in a region called Edom, which was southeast of ancient Israel, mainly in what is now southern Jordan and parts of Israel. The capital of Edom was Bozrah and later Petra. You can go and visit Petra and you can see that's Roman architecture. Became a major city in the area. The Edomites were cousins to the Israelites, but often enemies with frequent conflicts recorded in the Old Testament. Well, it was them that started the fight. They started the fight. When Moses wanted to go through Edom, through the King's Highway, they said, nah, you can't go. And if you do try to go, we're gonna attack you. So, Amos, what is that? Amos 1 verse 11 goes into that. They're not going to be forgiven. Now you got IUIC talking about, you're not supposed to hate an Edomite. Biblical conflicts and prophecies. The Bible portrays Edom as hostile to Israel. Didn't I just say that? I believe that's Numbers chapter 20, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody want to put it up, they can go right ahead. Be my guest. Especially during key moments like the Exodus and the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem. The Babylonians took us down. Esau helped. And that's what they're going to pay. Obadiah, which is 1 chapter long in the 10th verse. Read the whole chapter, but the 10th verse says the reason why the Most High is going to set up Judah to get you because of what you did to them. That's also in the Apocrypha. It says several prophets, example given, Obadiah. Right, I just quoted part of that. That whole chapter, which is 1 chapter long, is dedicated to Jacob getting back at Esau. So now one Edomite is going to... Edomites will be in the kingdom, but they... But they're going to get... Not one of them is going to be on the good side of Israel. They're all going to get their asses whipped. Yeah, this bitch look old as hell. Got a pound of makeup on her. Edomites are looking scary. I'm watching. I got Alex Jones on. Damn, she got 3 pounds of makeup on her. I mean, goddamn. It's an old ass. Anyway. If she thinks she look cute, you got to be crazy. You got to be kidding me. So anyway, Obadiah, prophet, Isaiah, prophet, Jeremiah, prophet. Ezekiel mentions them in Ezekiel 25. Jeremiah mentions them in one chapter that comes to mind is Jeremiah 49. Isaiah mentions them. One chapter comes to mind, Isaiah 34. And all these prophecies are future prophecies. None of these prophecies that Isaiah, Obadiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel wrote came to pass. Prophesied judgment against Edom for their pride and violence against really Judah. During the time of the Babylonians, it was only Judah that was there. But in the beginning, when we wanted to go through the King's Highway, they came up against us. But they wanted to take vengeance on Judah. I'm just looking at this. I don't know if that's breaking news. Anyway, a lot of things are happening. Okay, it says pride and violence against Israel. Obadiah especially declares that Edom would be completely destroyed. Edom will be completely destroyed. Right, the 10th verse says, for what you did against Judah and ultimately Israel, we're going to get you back. And 18 says we're going to exterminate you. Obadiah especially declares that Edom would be completely destroyed. I might have to ask them a question. Historical facts of Edom conquered by Babylon. Displacement by the Nepetians. The Nepetians, Arab people, took over Edom territory. Petra, and they say that that structure, that castle or whatever, which is Roman architecture, they said the Nepetians built that. No, that had to be Esau, because there was eagles on it. That's a symbol of Esau, the Edomites. Gradually pushed west into southern Judea, known as Idumeans, Hellenistic and Roman period. By the 2nd century BCE, Edom's 2nd century BCE, before the Common Era, that was 200 years. Edomites were called Idumeans, living in southern Judah around 129 BCE. The Hasmoneans, which are Maccabees ruler, John Hyrcanus, which was one of the relatives of the Maccabean family, he was a priest, forcibly converted them to Judaism. Because they say that the small hats, they were Cossacks that converted. No, you had Edomites that were further south that converted. So they didn't come from one place. So they know a lot of things because they were taught it, man. And they would get put to death. If they didn't comply, they would get put to death. They said either accept this, the Lord's statute commandments, and we'll let you live. If you don't accept it, we'll kill you. And then John Hyrcanus, under his orders, he killed a lot of them. He put them. They were hiding, and he would burn down whatever place that they went to, whatever house they went to. They would burn them alive, and if they would escape, they would kill them. But they said, "I'm gonna have mercy on some of you, but you got to keep the laws, the statutes, and commandments." That's where Herod came. The Herodian dynasty. They said that they were the Israelites. They were not the Israelites. They were Edomites, tares, that were keeping the laws, going back to John Hyrcanus. Right, it mentions Herod. Did not just mention that? Like them Jake out there, you guys just make shit up. No, everything I say is Esau agrees with me. So what the hell are y'all talking about? Do you know the word? Do you know the term fact check? Do you know what that means? Oh, y'all just made all that up about Edomite. Ain't no such thing as no Edomites. I ain't never read that in the Bible. First of all, you don't know how to read, Negro. Herod, king of Judea, under Roman rule, was of Idumean descent. Idumean. Isaiah 34, it says Idumean. What does Idumean mean? It means Edomite. It's a Greek way of saying Edomite. His role brought tension among the Jews and viewed him as a foreigner or outsider, which they were. After 70 CE, Roman destruction of Jerusalem, Roman war, Idumeans faded from history as a distinct group. Right, they didn't just, like vocab said, oh, they just disappeared. No, they mingled their seed among other people, but a lot of them looked like Esau looked. But some of them looked like Jake. Some of them looked like Moabites. Did the Edomites survive? Not as a distinct people. In other words, there's no people saying, like, you go to the UN, this guy's representing the Edomites, right? Ain't nobody representing Elam, those ancient names. Ain't nobody representing the Canaanites. Those are ancient names. By the 2nd century CE, or the Common Era, the Edomites, Idumeans, had been assimilated or disappeared through conquest, displacement, and cultural integration. That's why if you tell a so-called white person that they're Edomite, they'll say, I never heard of an Edomite, because they don't teach that in schools. There are no modern ethnic groups distinctly identifiable as Edomites. So we almost finished. Hang on, y'all. I need to put that dramatic music on that Nate puts up. In the last 15 minutes, he has that dramatic music. You know? Summary aspects, details, origin, descendants of Esau region, southeast of Israel, modern Jordan, Israel, biblical role, often hostile to Israel, always hostile to Israel, subject of judgment prophesied. Judgment, we read about Ezekiel, Obadiah, Isaiah, and Jeremiah, right? All those prophecies that these great prophets saw, that these men of God saw, they're yet to happen. Historical fate, conquered, displaced, assimilated. Last name, Idumeans, Hellenistic, Roman period. Notable descendant, Herod the Great. Final disappearance after 70 CE, lost identity as a distinct people. Yeah, that's why people don't say they represent. Like I said, there's no seat for the Edomites at the UN, because the Edomites, like Germany, they're Edomites. The head of Germany is an Edomite. America, Edomite. Trump, an Edomite. The chief king of France, an Edomite. So when they come to the UN, they have the name placards, or his name is so-and-so, he represents France. Ain't no seat for the Edomites, because remember, they mingled. So the Edomites are who? White people from France, Germany, Russia, America, Canada, all them European nations, right? They said, let me know if you want to dive into their connection to Herod. No, I don't. No, I don't. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. We got a little bit of history. But like I said it a couple of times in this video, when we go out there and speak, and Jake listens, they said these niggas just making shit up. That didn't happen. This didn't happen. But then we go to like ChatGPT, we go to Google, we go to certain historical books, we go to books on history. Let me just rephrase that. We go to these what do you call it? These commentaries, and they all say the same thing. They're hit or miss. Most of the time, they say what we say. So if we say it, Jake don't listen. But if Esau said it, like I said, if Esau if it's top Edomites, white people, top scholars and scientists and archaeologists got together and was breaking news, and they said we did some deep research and we found out that we're the Edomites, and that the Israelites are people of Negroid, Indian, and Latino descent, that they're the Israelites. Guess what? Jacob they'll go to college to learn about it. They won't come to us. Anyway, Shalom. Please forgive me for going long. This is another history lesson. On to the next. Shalom.